Pick up the ugliest piece of silver in your house. The bent, blackened old serving spoon shoved to the back of a drawer. The one so tarnished it looks burnt. The one you'd never put on the table if company came. Turn it over. The little marks stamped on the back of that ugly thing are a signed, dated confession. And there's a real chance it's worth more than the shiny matched set you keep in the felt box for Christmas. 10 pieces of old cutlery tonight, knives, forks, spoons, and the strange ones in between, that the whole family walks past because they're plain, or black, or just plain odd-looking. Some have sold for a few $100s, some for a few thousand, and the one nearly all of you already own, a plain spoon you'd sell for scrap without blinking, is waiting at number 1. Keep a pen and paper next to you, because there are 4 or 5 marks tonight you'll want to write down before you open that drawer. A quick word before we start. This is general information to help you identify and enjoy your pieces, not a formal appraisal. Values move with condition, the market, and the day. Anything you believe is valuable, have it looked at in person before you sell it. Here's the truth most folks never hear. With silver, value does not live in how pretty a piece is or how well it matches. It lives in the mark on the back, the maker, the pattern, and whether it's solid silver or just a whisper of silver over nothing. The ugliest, blackest, oddest piece in the drawer is very often the honest one. Let me be honest with you, the way a real dealer would. My name is Walter Ashford. 40 years buying and selling at estate sales and house clearances across the Midwest. And I'm a dealer, not a certified appraiser, which is exactly why I'll tell you the plain truth. Most of what's in the average silverware drawer is plated and worth very little as metal. I'll tell you that plainly, and I'll show you how to tell in 10 seconds. But the exceptions in that same drawer can be a month's rent, and almost nobody turns them over. The name on the front is the story they tell you. The mark on the bottom is the truth. Turn it over, read the bottom, believe what it tells you. Here's why the good pieces hide. For 200 years, a well-set table meant silver, so it came into your family through weddings and funerals, and got split up, worn down, and half forgotten. The pretty ornate stuff got kept and used. The plain old spoons, the odd tools nobody knew the name of, the black serving pieces, those got shoved to the back or dropped in the scrap bag. If you were told the ugly ones were junk, that wasn't carelessness. Nobody ever taught you to read the back. Tonight, somebody will. Number 10. The plain, thin, slightly bent old spoons, the ones that look 100 years older than everything else, because they are. Before about 1868, American silversmiths made spoons out of melted down coins, so-called coin silver, and stamped them with their own name, or just the word coin, or pure coin, near the top of the handle. They're plain as a fence post, often worn soft, sometimes bent, and genuine coin silver spoons by good early makers have sold anywhere from $50 to a couple hundred each, and far more for a known colonial name. Your test tonight, read the back of the handle for a maker's name or the word coin. It will not say sterling, because sterling wasn't stamped on American silver until later, so on the real early ones you'll see just a name, or a few little stamped pictures that only look like English hallmarks. Read it out loud, letter by letter, the way you'd read a signature. That plainness is the disguise. The loss I see most often here is a whole handful of these swept into a bag and sold for the weight of the silver, when 3 of them carried a maker's name worth 10 times the melt. Number 9. The strange, long, thin, double-ended tool that looks like somebody flattened a spoon on both ends, and nobody in the family can say what it's for. That's a marrow scoop, Georgian. Made to dig the marrow out of a roasted bone, and they've been made in solid silver since the 1700s. People find them, decide they're useless, and drop them in the odds and ends jar. A genuine Georgian silver marrow scoop, hallmarked, has sold in the low hundreds, and won by a celebrated maker like Hester Bateman, the London silversmith, whose work collectors chase to this day, higher still. There's a cousin to watch for too, the moat spoon, a slender little teaspoon with a pierced, holy bowl, and a long thin spike for a handle, made in the early 1700s to skim tea leaves. Real early ones are scarce and sought after, and they get thrown in the junk drawer because the bowl looks broken. Your test: look for a row of little stamped hallmarks along the stem, a lion, a letter, a crowned head. Odd is not the same as worthless. Odd is sometimes the money. Number 8. The mystery tools in the bottom of the box, the little scissors with silver blades, the flat-pointed scoop, the spoon with a pierced bowl, and a spike on the handle. Those are grape shears, a Stilton cheese scoop, a sugar sifter, a berry spoon, Victorian table silver for courses we don't serve anymore. Solid silver examples have real collector demand. A good pair of sterling berry spoons has sold from around $120 up past $2,000. But here's the honesty beat you need. Most of these you'll find are silver plated, not solid, and a plated Stilton scoop is worth about $70 as a curiosity, not a fortune. The difference is the mark, which brings me to the whole game. Number 7. The plain, heavy, modern-looking Danish silver the family thinks looks cheap because it isn't fussy. A maker named Georgian, out of Copenhagen, made some of the most collected silver flatware in the world. The acorn pattern was drawn by a designer named Johan Rochter back in 1915. Blossom goes back to about 1919, and the fiercely plain modern ones, cactus, pyramid, Bernadotte, come from the 1920s and 30s. Some of it is clean and severe, and looks, to an eye raised on ornate American silver, almost like good dinerware. It is the opposite of cheap. A single Jensen serving piece has sold for $500 to $700 and up, and full Jensen services have crossed the block for $4,000 and $5,000. Your test: look for the Georgian name inside an oval dotted frame on the back, sometimes with the word Denmark. The plainer it looks, the harder you should check. Number 6. The heavy pieces gone black in the drawer, the ones so tarnished you can't read them, stamped Tiffany and Company. Tiffany's own sterling patterns, English King, drawn by a designer named Charles Georgian back in 1885, and the deeply modeled chrysanthemum, are thick, heavy, and they've held their value for well over a century. Individual pieces run well into the hundreds, and full Tiffany services have sold anywhere from under $1,000 into the tens of thousands, depending on the pattern and the weight. A deep, high-relief pattern, like those two, holds its value far better than a thin plain one, because half of what a collector is paying for is the silver you can feel in your hand. The tarnish that makes it look ugly is doing you a favor. It kept the piece from being worn out. Your test: get past the black with a soft cloth on the back only, and read for the Tiffany name and the word sterling. Number 5. The big ornate American patterns so covered in fruit and flowers the family calls them gaudy, gone charcoal black from 30 years in a drawer. Reed and Barton's Francis I, Wallace's Grande Baroque. These are heavy sterling, and they carry real per-piece value. A single Francis I serving spoon has sold for $200 to $400, a large soup ladle $300 to $600, and complete sets from $2,500 into 5 figures. Your test: read the back for the pattern name and the word sterling. One honest caution, though, so you don't get your hopes too high. The knives are different from the spoons and forks. A sterling knife almost always has a hollow handle filled with pitch or cement to give it weight. So a heavy knife holds far less actual silver than it feels like it should, and the spoons and the serving pieces are where the real metal is. Fussy is not worthless. Fussy and solid is a car payment sitting in a drawer liner. Number 4. The single solid silver piece hiding in a box of plated ones. It happens constantly. A family's everyday set is plated, but one cold meat fork, or one berry spoon, or one soup ladle in there is the real thing, brought in from somewhere else and forgotten among the crowd. It's usually the odd one, the one that doesn't match, tarnished a little differently. A lone sterling serving piece can be worth more than the entire plated set around it. Your test: go through the whole box one piece at a time and read every single back. The one that says sterling, or shows real hallmarks, is the one that pays for the search. Number 3. The piece with the big fancy initials engraved on it that the family swears is ruined because it's got somebody else's monogram. Here's what most people get backwards. On a common pattern, yes, a heavy monogram can knock the value down a little, but on a rare or sought-after pattern, a monogram barely moves the price at all. Collectors want the pattern and the silver, and some love the history in the initials. I've watched people refuse to keep a valuable piece because grandma's initials weren't theirs. The initials are not the problem. Selling it for scrap is. Number 2. And this is the honest flaw I promised you. Most of what's in the average silverware drawer is silver plated, not solid, and I won't dress that up. Plated flatware, marked things like EPNS or A1 or triple plate, has a thin skin of silver over a base metal, and as metal it's worth almost nothing. A scrap refiner won't even take it. It can have a little value if the pattern is decorative and wanted, but not as silver. So here's your test tonight, the most important one in this whole video. Read the back of every piece. If it says sterling or the number 925. It's solid silver and it matters. On English pieces there won't be a word at all. There'll be a little row of stamped pictures, and the one that tells you it's real silver is a small walking lion. Next to it you'll usually find a letter, which is the year it was made, and a little town symbol, an anchor, a crown, a leopard's head, for the city that tested it. A lion means silver. Those are the marks worth learning. But if the piece says EPNS, or plate, or triple plate, or nothing at all, it's plated, and it's the base metal underneath doing the heavy lifting. That one word is the difference between scrap and a month's rent. And number one, the piece nearly all of you already own, and the one that breaks my heart the most often. The plain sterling teaspoon or serving spoon in a name-brand American pattern, Gorham, Towel, International, the everyday-looking solid silver, a family inherited a partial set of and never thought twice about. It isn't rare, millions were made. But here's the trap, and it's the whole reason I do this. A scrap buyer will weigh your sterling and pay you the melt price for the ounces, and not one word more. That same spoon, matched to its pattern, is worth something else entirely. All across the country there are families rebuilding a set, the exact way you'd replace a broken plate, one lost fork, one missing serving spoon at a time, and they pay by the pattern, not by the ounce, because they need that shape to finish a service. So, a common Gorham or Towel teaspoon that melts for a few dollars can be worth several times that to the person completing the very set it came from. In 40 years, I have watched more good silver melted by the ounce than any thief ever carried out a back door. Whole matched services turned into a puddle and a check that wouldn't cover a week of groceries. Separated and sold by weight, a set worth thousands becomes a handful of dollars. Fame is not value, the plain pattern isn't rare. But solid silver is solid silver, and the pattern is worth far more alive than melted. Your test: read the pattern name and the word sterling on the back, and never, ever sell silver by the ounce until you've read the pattern. Let me tell you about a woman I'll call Eunice. Her mother had passed, and a fellow with a sign out by the highway, "We buy gold and silver, cash today," offered her a flat price for the whole tarnished box by weight. It was a hard week, and she nearly took it. Something made her carry the box in to me first. Most of it was plated, and I told her so plainly. But down in the bottom, black as coal, was a set of her grandmother's sterling in a pattern collectors still chase, and 3 heavy Victorian serving pieces her family had stopped recognizing 2 generations ago. The man by the highway would have melted all of it for the ounces. You were the one who couldn't hand the box over. That instinct was right the whole time. And I will never tell you your specific spoon is worth a number from a screen. I can't hold it in my hand. What I'll tell you is which marks to read, and that anything that makes your heart jump, you take to a reputable dealer or have it appraised in person before you sell it, and never to a scale. Because here's who profits from your not knowing: the buyer who pays melt by the ounce and never mentions the pattern, the sign by the road that says cash today and counts on you being tired, the relative who calls it dated and wants the drawer emptied by Sunday. None of them is doing a single thing that's illegal. They're just counting on you, never turning the piece over. The whole family calls the ornate set gaudy and the plain one boring, and both times they're looking at the front. The back of the piece doesn't care what's in fashion. Before you go back to that drawer, here's what almost nobody stops to realize. The silver worth real money almost never looks like it. It's black, it's plain, it's odd, it's got someone else's initials on it. What decides the value is a small set of things you can learn: the maker's mark, the word sterling, the pattern, whether it's solid or plated. You learned all of them tonight, so here's the short list to carry back to that drawer. The word sterling, or the number 925, a little walking lion on anything English. The Georgian name in a dotted oval, a maker's name, or the word coin, on the plainest old spoons. And EPNS, which means plated, so step away from the scale. If you're watching this on the television, take a picture of the screen so you've got the marks in your hand at the drawer. So tell me in the comments, what's the oldest piece of silver in your house, and whose hand did it come off of? Your mother's? A grandmother's? A house you helped clear? I read every one, and the story of who set the table with it is half the value. Next time, we do the crystal and the cut glass sitting in the same dining room, the decanters and the heavy bowls, and the one piece nearly every American home has without knowing what it really is. So before you clear a single drawer, before you take the first dollar anyone offers you for your mother's silver, turn it over, read the bottom, and believe what it tells you. What everyone recognizes is almost never the thing worth the most, because the whole world already has one. I'll see you at the next table.